Such energy. And also spontaneously, too. Nothing is ever planned here. Welcome. Where am I? There I am.
There he is.
Yes,
There he is.
Yes, it's the bouncing camera game, and here I am. I'm Jeff. It's TGIF. We're back. We have a full house tonight. I'm telling you, we have some wonderful guests. My guests are artist Tim Lundgren, Kathy Lagasse from Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Jim Morrow, local musician and composer, and psychotherapist Renée Nell. We're going to take a quick station break. Can I say that? Quick, quirk, quick, quack, quick, quack, quo, quid, quad, cool, quam. That's Latin for those of you who don't know. And we're going to be right back. We're back. What was that? Was that you?
The last of the Mohicans.
I see. Well.
He's guest number 6 tonight.
Hell yeah. My first guest is a local boy. Grew up here in Torrington. He's traveled around a bit, studied. He is an illustrator, and now he's moving into the field of painting. Won't you please welcome Mr. Tim Lundgren? Tim, welcome.
Good to see you, Jeff.
Good to see you. Good to see you again. We've met before.
Yep.
See, we don't, we're not total strangers. We do know each other. And we had a wonderful conversation at the wine tasting dinner. We've talked about this now 2 weeks in a row. It's a great place to meet people, and that's where we met. So, you're a painter, you're an illustrator. Where do you want to begin?
Well, I've been doing commercial work for, about 12 years now, a lot of advertising agency work.
Okay.
Working in pen and ink mostly, and now I think it's time to break off and go in a different direction, and that's portraiture. Okay. In the fall I started doing some portraits of my parents, and they went so well that I began to become more and more enthusiastic about it.
Okay.
To the point now where I'm so sure it's where I want to go in the future, and someday maybe do it exclusively. I brought some of my work with me tonight, and well,
we can go from there then. Okay, is there a particular one that you would like to start with? These are all lovely. I mean,
well, I'd like to start with the one of my father down on the bottom there.
Okay.
That was the first one I started on back in September.
September of last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went to the one of my mother.
Okay.
Over on the right. That's not my mother,
we
no.
moved the camera around. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about each one as we go along. I'll give the camera guy time to adjust there. Yeah.
Okay.
And something else, you keep talking about your mom's picture. I'm going to move your mic a little bit so we can hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Go ahead. There's Mom.
There's Mom, and I was really surprised at how easy it was to get good likenesses of each one of them. And then I've been doing the commercial work right along as I do these, sort of skipping back and forth from one to the other. And my old professor, Dan Calabrese, has been encouraging me in this direction.
Okay. Now, I understand that there's a portrait of him as well.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. Let's take a look here and see, where is Professor Calabrese? Yes?
Can you get it?
He's in the shot. Then there he is.
There you go.
Okay, now you talk about that. I'm going to play with your mic again. This is the fun about live television here, because we always do fun things.
Well, the one of Dan Calabrese is extra large. I wanted to make something really impressive. And he insisted that we go down and check out the Yale collection of British portrait paintings from the 18th century.
Was this painting influenced by that style?
Very much.
Okay, in what ways? What kinds of things exemplify that style of painting?
Keeping the painting very thin, putting on a lot of transparent layers of color.
Now, now, of course, this is sort of technical jargon, and I'm not sure I quite understand it, but I think what you're saying is not any heavy, dark solids. You're letting light pass through the color.
That's right.
Giving the illusion thereof.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And you've got lots of that. Okay. What are the kinds of things?
Well, this is an old Renaissance secret. I was debating whether I should mention this on the air, but what the heck.
Secrets will be told tonight. Okay, go ahead.
They used to do what's called a green underpainting underneath of the live flesh tones, which when you do it, it makes them look like a dead person. But then, when you go on top of it with the final layer of paint for the face, the hands, it looks a lot more lifelike than it does without it. And I'm not sure why that happens, but it just creates this this feeling of being alive.
Putting green underneath the flesh tone.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting. Now, let's back up a little bit, okay? While the camera's looking for the next shot, we're going to talk for a second. What got you interested initially in art? Not just painting, okay, but how did you get involved? I mean, you were an illustrator and you said you worked with pen and ink initially. What really influenced you in the beginning? Because you've been doing this for a long time.
A long time. Ever since I was a little kid, I loved to draw pictures. Since I was 4 years old.
Okay.
I was the best artist in kindergarten class.
And you carried this throughout school. Now, where did you go to school to study this as, you know, a profession, as an art?
Well, at first I went to the Torrington branch of Yukon for 2 years while I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be.
Okay.
I'd been told that being an artist was very impractical. You couldn't do it unless you were willing to starve. And
so hence the name Starving Artist.
right.
Okay,
Well, I didn't want to starve. You know, there had to be a better way of doing it. And Dan Calabrese was my professor there. He convinced me and my parents that this is a possible alternative. You know, this can be done.
Okay.
So I started applying to art schools in the spring of '76 and got accepted at the Rhode Island School of Design.
Okay. So now, when you were going to school at that, you know, at the Rhode Island School of Design, it's a long name, did they teach you techniques in oils, or was it strictly the other style of art that you do, the pen and ink type things?
They taught a lot of different things.
Did you specialize?
Not really, because I didn't know what on earth I wanted to be except an illustrator.
Okay.
Because I love doing pencil drawings and working in pen and ink and doing watercolors and painting in oils and even pastels. But you can't really become a successful artist doing everything. You've got to specialize.
In something and make your mark in it. Now, we have one more oil I'd like to go to, if we can do that. Yes.
It's my friend Karen out in Rhode Island. Haven't seen her in a while.
Well, hi, Karen, out there, wherever you may be. See, she's smiling back at us.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
She's in a happy mood.
Okay. Now, I have a question. Okay, and this kind of applies to all of the paintings, but since we're focused on Karen here, how long do people have to sit for you to do a portrait? I mean, what's the average time?
Well, first we do a photo session. Maybe go through 2 or 3 rolls of film.
Okay.
That's about an hour to 2 hours.
Okay.
Then I work from the photograph for a while, and then to give the painting the feeling of life and reality, have them sit again for 2 or 3 hours, and then maybe 2 or 3 hours a few days later. Altogether, maybe 5 or 6 hours of sitting.
Okay, somehow I imagine it as being much longer than that, and of course I was thinking of Mona Lisa. She's sitting there. She looks like she's been sitting there for quite a while. Well, impatiently waiting, like, hurry up and get this done.
The reason I like to is because people look more lifelike. They look more animated than if you have them sitting for hour after hour. Their faces begin to sag and their eyelids droop.
Sounds like middle age.
Yeah.
Sounds like what's happening to me right now.
You should know.
What? Where's the which camera's on? Yes, I am seeking applications for new crew members. Call the station right now. The number at the bottom of the screen. No, just kidding. Love you all. Love you all. Now, I'm interested to see some of the works that you've done before. Now, you have a portfolio with you of some of the work that you've done commercially. And people who see this might recognize it, some of them anyway, and say, oh, gee, local guy did this. So why don't we pull some of this up?
Okay.
And take a quick look, and I'll move some things over here, my little notes.
This is altogether different. I guess if I tilt it forward.
Okay.
How's that?
Ah, okay.
Like that?
Yes, that's wonderful. I will guide you. Okay, it says 99-cent classic Sundays on Sundays, Newport Creamery. Okay, was this one of your first commissioned works?
This was about 2 years ago.
Oh, okay, so it's a fairly recent work.
Right after I moved back to Torrington, I got this job.
Okay, and what's next? What we have here? Oh, I saw this one. Yeah, this is very nice.
This is a self-promotional piece I did about 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay. Now, what you can't see, people in the audience at home, is that the texture of this work is very much like a woodcut. And if you're familiar with woodcuts, you know that they have a very rich, deep I don't want to say embossed look, but it's engraved. I mean, it's an engraved look, and that's exactly what this looks like. It looks like an engraving, and it's very, very highly detailed. Television really does not do this one justice, but a lot of your works I saw in your brochure are done in this style, and they're very, very meticulously detailed. Any other goodies down here?
Yeah. You know, it's funny you should mention that. It's all this meticulous detail that's been starting to drive me nuts. And that's
It'll do that. It'll do
that's
that.
why I've started doing oil paintings.
Okay.
Let's see.
All right.
How's that?
Can we get a close-up on this? Print media. Okay, so this was for...
This was for a company out in Peoria, Illinois. I've been doing a lot of work
There
for
really
them.
is a place called Peoria?
There really is, yeah.
Wow.
There really are
And
people
they'll play
who
in
live
Peoria.
there.
Yeah, let's turn it, yeah. There
Oh,
we
this
go.
way? Okay.
Okay, now we're going to get ready to go to a commercial break, and in the spirit of commercials, so to speak, we have a business card.
That's right.
And not just
There it
any
is.
business card.
There it is.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Let's get a close. Yeah, that's good. Now I can't really read the fine print at the bottom, so why don't you tell us? Oh well.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go.
Tim Lundgren illustration, 85 Bird Street, Torrington, Connecticut. 496-7439, and you have a fax?
That's right.
Yeah, 496-0082. Wow. There, now, yeah, your name's in lights
Great.
as such. Tim, I want to thank you very much for coming on. I look forward to this. I knew that you were going to be coming, and I wish you much success, both with your commercial endeavors and with your your new field of oils. And when you get some new things, hopefully you'll come on and show them off for us.
Great.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back in just a moment. Okay. You've got to smile. My producer's not smiling. I don't know what that means.
Dun, dun, dun.
She's not smiling. She's going to come out with an axe, and she's going to take over, and she's going to sit here, and yes, here she comes. Okay. My next guest, actually I should say guests, are from Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Now, is it from Litchfield? Is there like a particular geographical area?
I'm from the Torrington branch. Our main office is in Waterbury, and our Torrington branch covers the whole northwest corner.
Great. Won't you please welcome Kathy Lagasse? Hi.
Clap for me.
Clap, clap, clap. And also with Kathy tonight are Big Brother Brian Selman and Little Brother Danny. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Okay, so what is Big Brothers and Big Sisters? What is the the thrust behind the program?
Okay. Our program matches children primarily from single parent families with adult volunteers who spend 3 or 4 hours a week with the child doing a variety of activities.
Okay, recreational things.
Yep.
Homework maybe, things like that?
They help them with their homework. We hope that they're good role models, and there's someone to guide them, someone for if they had problems to confide in. There's someone to help them, like with homework.
Right.
But mostly, they are their very special friends.
That's very important. And how old, in general, are the kids and the adult volunteers?
The children are between the ages of 6 and 15, and the volunteers have to be at least 18 or older.
Oh, okay.
To get into the program.
Okay. Now I didn't realize that. I thought maybe there was a little older age limit for that. I don't know. 'Cause you can be a big brother at 18.
Yeah,
a big
sure.
sister.
As long as you have a car and you can get there to pick the child up and take him out.
Right.
That's why it's at least 18, so they're a little bit mature.
Okay. And that's important. And now you screen the volunteers.
We very thoroughly screen the volunteers. When they come into the program, it does take a little while because we're dealing with children, so we make sure that the volunteers, we send out police reports, we get references, we do an interview, in-depth interviews, we go to their homes to see what type of environment the child will be going into. We also talk to significant others, whoever they live with.
Yeah.
So it's a long process to become a big brother or a big sister. They're very thoroughly screened.
Well, that's good. Now, once you've gone through the screening process, then obviously you have a handful of, of
Kids.
adults and a handful of kids. How do you match them up?
Okay. The kids also go through a process. We get as much information on them as we possibly could, and we go to them and we ask them what type of big brother or big sister they would like, what are their interests, and we do match a child with a volunteer based on their personality, their interest, and their location. So if a big brother lives in the Torrington area, we would match him with a child in that area. He might go into Winstead or Harwington, and we look at their personality. If they're a real outgoing, active type, fun-loving kind of guy who likes to do outdoor things, then we would match him with a child that likes to do similar things. So we put a lot into the match in trying to get the right child for the volunteer, and we ask the volunteers lots of questions on the type of child they would like, how old they would like, you know, them to be, and so we do put a lot into it so that the match will be successful eventually when we do get them together.
Do you find that you have a good supply of, you know, big brothers and big sisters for the number of children who need them?
We're always short on volunteers. We have very often women calling in. Women are natural nurturers. Someone sees something about Big Brothers Big Sisters, a woman, and she would just automatically, oh, I would love to have a little sister, and I could do this and this with her, where men have to think about it a little more. So we're always in a great demand for male volunteers. We have right now in the Torrington office over 30 children waiting to be matched, and about 25 children going through the process. In our Waterbury office, in the main office, there's like 30 kids and about the same amount of children waiting, but most of them are boys, and it's the male volunteers that we need, and for some reason males just don't pick up that phone and call as easily. Once we get them in, though, no problems. And we have, right now in our Torrington branch, we have about 50, 55 matches, and there are just as many little girls matched as little boys. So there's an equal amount, but there's a lot more boys waiting for that big brother.
Now, you've mentioned a lot of different geographical areas just in talking about, you know, trying to match, you know, the kids to, you know, an area or maybe hobbies that they like, you know, like hunting or whatever it may be. How big is the area that your service covers? What, you know, geographically, you know, where are you?
Our main office is in Waterbury, and that covers all the surrounding towns like Cheshire, Naugatuck, Watertown, Thomaston. It covers all the surrounding areas. Our office in Torrington, actually geographically, it's a lot larger. It's not populated as much, but we cover the whole northwest corner.
Wow.
For instance, Brian is from Collinsville. And when he came into the program, I mean, that's far out. You know, when I went to do the home visit, it was like, Brian.
I've never heard of Collinsville.
Yes. It's a beautiful.
Oh, okay, all right.
So it's really a beautiful little town that he lives in. And at that time, I didn't have any children from that area. And Danny lives in Winstead. And it's a distance, but I think Brian could attest that the distance is well worth it, you know, for him to travel. So we do cover the whole northwest corner, though.
That's great. Now, how do you fund these things? I mean, this takes a lot of manpower. Takes, you know, manpower, woman power. I mean, people
Yeah,
power.
woman.
It takes.
Yes.
I mean, just, you know, general, you know, a lot of resources. I mean, is this a state-funded agency? Is it funded by contributions, or is it a combination of those things?
We get partially funded by the United Way.
Okay.
We don't get any state or federal or local funding. Other than the United Way, we have to do our own fundraisers. And right now we're in the process of doing our biggest fundraiser, which is called Bowl for Kids' Sake. And we're looking for anybody out there that would be interested in doing it. It's a fun time where people take sponsor sheets, go out and get donations, and they come in on, it's on May 1st in Torrington, and they bowl for us. This year, in just the Torrington office, we have to raise $30,000. That's a lot of money, but we do it. We do it every year. And the Waterbury office has their Bowl for Kids' Sake on April 17th in Waterbury, and we also have one in Thomaston. So we do have to raise our own money for it. We do get some funding from the United Way, but we're out there really trying hard to get people to help us with our fundraiser.
Okay. Now, you've told us how, you know, the big brothers and big sisters meet, the little brothers and little sisters. At some point, it probably does have to conclude, you know, and go on to other things. I mean, you know, the child grows older or the need changes. How does a match end? How does it conclude?
Well, first of all, we ask our volunteers to make a commitment of at least 1 year. And we hope that once they're matched up with the child and they've been with them for a year, that they'll stay with them for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And we do have matches that go on 4, 5, 6 years. In our program, the match ends at when the child turns 16. For instance, Danny here was just telling me tonight he's going to be 16 in November. But if you asked him, is your match going to end at that time? No. They will have a lifetime friendship. They've been matched for over 2.5 years now. So that bond, once it's established, it goes on. But officially in the program, we stop monitoring the match at age 16 because usually then the child gets busy, wants to go out with his friends. But he always keeps that big brother or she keeps that big sister as their friend. Other times matches end because a volunteer's life situation might change and they might move out of the community or whatever, for whatever reason. Or a child started in and was from a single parent family and the parent remarries and now the match would end so the child could then, you know, become an intact family and get along or establish a relationship with the new step-parent coming in.
Right.
They still don't lose that big brother or big sister as their friend, though. And the longer the match goes on, the more these children bond with that volunteer. The first year, it's kind of fun. The second year, it's like, yeah, this is my true friend, and he'll be my friend for life, you know. In 3 years, forget it, they're inseparable, you know. And we have matches that, like I said, have gone on 6, 7 years, you know, and they started when the kids were only 6, 7 years old.
Yeah. Now, Danny, you've been, she was saying that Brian's been your big brother for like 2.5 years. What kind of things do you do together?
Oh, well, we canoe, we play hockey, we mountain bike.
You're active guys.
Yeah, we a lot of outdoor stuff. And we like, I don't know, like activities like the outside that you run around and stuff like that.
So outdoorsy sort of things. But do you feel comfortable at this point? I mean, after 2.5 years, you can talk to Brian about things that are on your mind and you know, get answers that are good for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can confide in him and you feel good about that.
Yeah.
That's great. That's wonderful. Now, how long, you know, I mean, like, and this is a tough question. I know it's a tough question. But how long would you like to be matched, you know, all together? I mean, or just until, you know, to stay friends forever and all that?
Yeah, for my lifetime.
That's,
He's a
that's
great guy.
That's great. Now, Brian, you're sitting down there, smiling, because we're all sitting under hot studio lights. Hello.
Hi.
I'm burning up over here.
Yes.
You see, you were the smart man. He took his sweater off. He took his sweater off right before we started the show. I left mine on, and that wasn't a smart thing. What have you gotten from this? I mean, other than, you know, satisfaction, but I mean, what kind of satisfaction have you received from this special? It's a very special relationship that you have.
It certainly is. I guess one of the greatest satisfactions I have is I have a great friend. Danny and I, the program did a fantastic job matching us. We hit it off right away, and it seems like everything I ever asked Danny he wanted to do, he was sure, I love it, you know. And we spend a lot of time outdoors. I love to go canoeing, and I have a dog who goes with us all the time. And it's been fun, you know. And it's not a chore at all to spend time with Danny because it's always enjoyable to include him in what I would already be doing.
Right. Of course, now, you know, it's worked out real well, and you're glad that you're in it, but what got you interested in being a big brother in the first place? Before you met Danny, before you knew it was going to be such a great thing?
I had a good friend of mine, she was a big sister, and she encouraged me to do it, and she kind of gave me the nudge to call up the program and volunteer and start the process, and I'm glad she did because it's been a wonderful experience for me, and I know Danny and I are going to be good friends for a long time to come.
Yeah. Are there any ways that you think that you and Danny are a lot alike? You know, any similarities that you see between yourselves?
Yeah, we like to play hard.
Yeah.
You know, we like to go out and enjoy the outdoors, and we both. I have a lot of respect for the outdoors, and Danny has taken on a lot of that trait. I'm in a club where we were pretty active with the Farmington River, and we do a lot of cleanups and things.
Right.
And Danny always wants to come and help with
Yeah.
those things, even though he's not a member of the club. It's important to him because it's important to me.
Danny, what kind of things have you learned from Brian since the two of you have been, you know, matched?
Oh, I learned how to ice skate.
How to ice skate?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
That was hard for me to learn. I can do it a little bit, but, you know.
he taught me like to be good. And I'm used to be sort of a troublemaker, but now that I met him, I'm kind of mellowed out now. So.
Mellowed out? That's a good thing to be. It's a good thing to be mellowed out. It's wonderful. Now, Kathy, before we go,
Yes.
before we go, how can people get involved? How can they get in touch with the Big Brothers and Big Sisters?
Can I give you a telephone number?
You certainly can, and you can look into the camera. I don't know which one. We're on one now. Look
That one over there.
There we
Okay.
go. Yes.
We are desperately looking for male volunteers. So if you are a male, 18 or older, and you want to get involved and have a lot of fun, call us at our office, Big Brothers Big Sisters. It's 482-1446.
Repeat
We'd
that
love
number.
to hear from you. 482-1446. Females too. It's a good time for females to come in. We have a lot of little girls waiting, and couples. We also have couple matches.
Oh,
Husband
okay.
and wife. Their children have grown. So I didn't want to leave that out either. Couples
I'm
are
glad you
really,
mentioned that.
really good
Yeah,
matches.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I really didn't know that that was one of the things that you did.
Yeah. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Well, Kathy, I want to thank you very much. Danny, Brian, thanks for coming on the show. Hope you had a good time.
Sure.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be back with our next guest, musician Jim Morrow. I'm back. I am back. I'm burning up, but I am back. And that's all that counts. Where's my producer? She's probably out in the ready room watching this on the monitor. I'm very pleased to have my next guest. And before I go on and tell you about him, stop that over there. Before I go on, I saw him running around, and I thought he was like, you know, this brand new crew member I was getting. And he was like so adept at, you know, all this kind of stuff. And he just told me during the commercial break that he actually does do some things here and helps around the studio. And he's a talented musician and composer. I'll say that. You are a composer. And we're going to take a look at a video he did of a composition in a few minutes. Won't you please welcome Mr. Jim Morrow? Did I get it right?
Yes, you got it right.
Great. Welcome to TGIF.
Thank you.
Yes, this is your moment in infamy, or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, you're a musician. What do you play?
Well, I play the drums and I play the bass. I attempt to play the keyboards. Sometimes I attempt to play guitar, and I sing. I attempt to sing.
Okay.
So I'm basically kind of all around. I'm good at drums and I'm good at bass, but I work on the other things.
That's how I started, actually. I mean, when I really decided that I wanted to go into music, I played the drums at 10 years old, and I drove my parents crazy.
Well, I just started 2.5 years ago playing drums, so.
Yeah, but you're younger than me.
That's true.
Everyone on this show is. Everyone is tonight.
Me
now,
too.
Don't feel bad, it's all right.
Yes, you guys too, of course. Everyone's included. Okay, so you play drums, you play guitar, you sing, you write songs.
Right.
Okay, now, what do you want to do with all this?
Well, you know, one day I'd like to be a professional musician, but I don't want all the glitz and glamour. I mean, I may say that now and cheat on mine later, but right now I don't want all the glitz and glamour. I don't want all the glitz and glamour that everybody that comes with being a musician most of the time. So I'd love to do that for a career, but right now I'm sticking with radio television. I'm taking up in college.
Okay. Well, and where are you going to school for this?
University of New Haven.
University of New Haven. Okay. I didn't go there. I went to CSB.
Oh, Connecticut School
Yes.
of Broadcasting.
Yes, I sure did. And my background, actually, before I ever moved here, was in broadcasting. It's a good field.
I enjoy it.
You could sit in this desk sometime and
One of these days.
and grill people. It's fun. It's great fun. You'll love it. And it's glitz and glamour. It is.
I'd love to do that.
You'll love it.
Believe me.
Now, seriously, why would you not want the glitz and glamour of being a musician?
Because
what is it that you know?
What is it? It's because every time you look at someone, every big name musician has some story behind them.
Yeah.
They always, I mean, a lot of the musicians I listen to are big name with their community,
Yeah.
but a regular person wouldn't know them. You know, we were talking about Michael Jackson before.
Right.
Look at all the stuff that goes along with Michael Jackson.
Right.
He had to go on Oprah to clear his name, you know, or attempt to clear his name.
Okay.
You know, I don't want any of that. I don't want to be going all over America, you know, touring or anything like that. I just want to stay, you know, a local musician. I'd like to be well known, but I want to stay a local musician.
So
Basically.
you're going to be a studio musician.
Basically, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. That's great.
Well, thank
it's
you.
good work, and it's fun. I've done studio work. It's great fun. You know, and when you hear it on the radio, it's like you walk out, you go,
Oh,
yeah, I played on that.
I had
played on
that experience. I had that experience,
Yeah?
and it was the best feeling in my life.
What did you do?
Well, the song you're going to hear was
Uh-huh.
played on my school radio station.
Yeah.
And they told me and everything when they were going to play it.
Uh-huh.
And I was all excited, and I said, well, you know, that's a one-shot deal, you know, and all this stuff. But I listened to the same show, you know, week by week.
Right.
And they were getting calls to play it. And I was starting to get real excited because this song isn't what I'm about. This is the type of song that it just came to me one day, and
Yeah.
I went to my friend and I said, Jay Matthew, let's do this, and we wrote it and the whole deal. But it's not my normal style of music, but it works.
What's your normal style of music?
My normal, it's techno, thrash, industrial.
Ooh, a man after my own heart. I was a DJ back in the old days, when we just called it disco. Actually, no, seriously, we called it European disco. It was the high energy. When synthesizers first came into vogue,
Right.
you know, it was in that period between violins, the Donna Summer stuff. There are people out there who remember Donna Summer. Remember that, with the violins, Last Dance, and then all of a sudden, Kraftwerk came along and changed everything. Okay, and then yes, you're too young.
Well, this song is an absolute punk song.
Absolute punk.
Without question, it's a punk song.
Okay, what's the name of the song?
Third World Fantasy.
What?
Third World Fantasy.
Third World Fantasy. That sounds very interesting. Okay, now can we go to the clip? Now.
He's working on it.
He's working on it. Okay. Anyone?
Anyone?
It's a little strange, so
It's a little
I'm just
strange.
warning you.
Yeah. Yo.
It's a lot of visual interpretations.
Got a very quiet.
Well,
beginning.
okay. What? It has a very quiet beginning. Okay. Now, who helped write this song with you?
Well, this band was called Godspeed Symphony, but it was more of a storyline. It wasn't really a band. It was more of a project. I'm working on a band right now called Two, as in TGIF.
Okay.
I was like a featured programmer and vocalist for this group, and this song came to my mind. It was like 1 in the morning. I called up Jay Matthew. I said, come upstairs, because we were living in the dormitories. I said, come upstairs, and we just banged it out in a 4-track, brought it into the studio, mastered it, did the
Yeah.
vocals again, and that's what you have.
Okay. Now, getting back to what we have. Do we have it yet? Yes.
Okay.
We do. Okay. We're going to go to the clip.
You ever seen Cool Hand Luke?
Every day.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Great. That's good. That was wild.
Thank you.
That was really wild. Now, and you just got this inspiration, just came to you, and now what about the video?
The video,
Backdrop.
to be honest, I had a dream. I don't know, I was thinking about doing this. I wasn't originally planning to do a video for it. And then I was thinking about it. I said, well, why not? You know, why not? I'm getting a radio play with it. Why not go ahead and do it?
Yeah.
And I fell asleep one night thinking about it. And when I woke up, I remembered this dream I had where I had long hair in the dream.
Yeah.
I had like I was just wearing like boxer shorts in this dream. I mean, it was a weird dream.
It was a Marky Mark thing.
And there was just, and I was just running up and down in front of a movie screen, and all these things are popping up in the dream, and that's how I came up with it.
Definitely a Marky Mark thing. Okay, that's cool. That's good. That's a
No Marky Mark thing going on.
no Marky Mark thing. Okay. Well, you know. Okay. I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I hope that if you decide to continue with this, that, maybe you'll bring some of your your videos.
I don't care if I'm 50. I'll still be doing it. Believe me.
A true musician, spoken like a true musician. We're going to take a quick commercial break. There I am. Okay. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be back with psychotherapist Renee Nell. Yes, and I do have a shadow. There is me and my shadow. See it? My shadow and me.
Oh,
We had a technical problem during the break, and these things do happen, and we're coping. We're coping with it. And speaking of coping, my next guest is the founder of the Litchfield Country Place and the Litchfield Guidance Center. Won't you please welcome psychotherapist Renee Nell. Hello, welcome. Welcome to TGIF. Thank you for coming on the show. Now, you were sitting back in the ready room while we were watching the music video, okay? Now, he said he dreamed about having that video. What would, now, do you do dream analysis? You study that. What would you say about that dream?
I better don't.
Okay, good enough, good enough. Okay, now, all right, here we go. Okay, now, the first place that you started was the Litchfield Country Place. What type of organization was that? And is it still in existence?
Yes.
Okay, and what kinds of things did you do there?
Well, it was a residential treatment center for emotionally young adults, 18 to 21, 25, something like that. And they had been on drugs or tried to commit suicide or were even borderline schizophrenics, and mostly highly endowed and intellectually very bright people that we dealt with, who were college dropouts, even high school dropouts, things like that. And it was a residential treatment center, and they stayed with us for anywhere from 6 months to a year.
Okay, now the Litchfield Guidance Center is a kind of different sort of place, isn't it?
Completely, yes.
Okay, and what sort of things do you do there?
Well, the first place, the country place, was a rather expensive place.
Okay.
The Litchfield Guidance Center is for anyone if they have money or no money.
Okay.
I had a great need to do that after I was through with the country place, at least as a manager. I'm still the director, but I'm no longer managing it. And this is now, I wanted to have a place where people could come without any red tape. If you're on Medicare or Medicaid, or if you're not, or if you get too much money from too little money to it, none of that. You just have to call up and come by, and you just give your name, address, and your age. And that's all. And I wanted very, very much to give people a chance not to have to go to the red tape of welfare.
Right. Now, how many counselors are on staff at this facility?
Well, I have written to many people, and some have responded. There's Dr. Reese from New Preston. There is Dr. Ressler, who is a psychiatrist in Woodbury. And they all work in the offices. They don't come to my place or to Litchfield.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm the kind of, what do you call it in your field, an anchor?
Okay.
Yeah? I heard that word before for the first time here. And people just call me up, and I ask what they want help for. And that can be couple counseling or individual depression or a loss of a person who was close to you or difficulties with your child or something like that. And then I ask them where they live, and then I suggest we have somebody in New Milford who is Dr. O'Shea, who is the head of the psychological center there. And we have somebody in Woodbury. And I asked colleagues if they would be kind enough to give me 1 hour a week for free, because we all work pro bono, which means voluntarily. And I see 7 people, and Dr. Reese has about the same amount of people, and I do the administration, which I try to keep to a minimum because I hate red tape.
So someone who is using this service could expect, of course, the same confidentiality as if they were going into this professional
Yes,
as a paying
of course.
client.
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now, what would you say? And this is highly simplifying things, but what would you say are the biggest needs that you see when people come to you and they say, I need counseling? Do you see any one particular need that seems to stand out? And do you think it's maybe a reflection on what's going on, with our world? I mean, our economy has been rough. A lot of people have lost their jobs.
Right.
A lot of people, I'm sure, are kind of down about that. Do you have a lot of people coming to you saying, I need help dealing with this change in my lifestyle? Or do you just have all kinds of people?
Well, I have never thought in those terms, but the question interests me very much. I would say that the falling apart of families these days I see as the greatest problem, even when it is not a single father or a single mother, but fathers who come home and aren't taking any interest in their children or in the house, or have kind of ideas that they don't have to help in the house and things like that. And the living parallel next to each other rather than with each other, I see as a problem. The inability to express a feeling rather than fighting or arguing or being right. That people can say, well, I don't feel right when you criticize me all the time, or things like that. I mean, simple things that I see as the greatest problem. Of course, everything gets more difficult when you have to worry about money and rent and food and so on. That goes by itself, don't have to explain that. But people don't come to me for jobs, but for the consequence of having no job. How the wife reacts to the husband, how the adolescent daughter now acts out, things like that. And depression. Depression is a great problem these days.
Now, as a psychotherapist, when someone comes to you and says, I'm depressed, a lot of times, and I know this from people I've talked to who have been through, counseling, both with, psychologists or trained counselors, as well as medical doctors who work in more traditional fields of medicine. Sometimes there's an emphasis on medicating someone immediately. Now, how do you feel about that? Do you feel that should only be done as a crisis intervention, or do you think it's okay to immediately just start someone on medication if they come and say, I'm depressed?
No.
Because there's a big controversy about that. Prozac and all these other drugs that are out there, and now they're saying that, people, there's more people on these sort of antidepressants than that shouldn't be. It's not being monitored. Do you think that that's a problem? The medication end of it?
Well, that depends on the integrity of the person you work with, Of course, when I was running the country place, we had people who were much sicker, so much sicker that they were not sick enough for a mental hospital, like Brattleboro or something, or Institute of Living or Haven Hospital, but they were not well enough to live alone and to be without 24-hour guidance, so to say. There, you often did need medication, there's no doubt. But I always had the good fortune to find a psychiatrist on my side who would have the same philosophy that I have, which is as little medication as possible, and let's try from time to time to reduce it with the agreement of the patient. And so that we got most of the people who had to start on medication on very little medication. If somebody is manic, which means overexcited and can't control himself and doesn't
like
eat,
me before
doesn't
the show.
sleep.
When I was running around here, you saw me.
Such a person might need medication all their life in order to function like a normal person in a normal life. But in the guidance center, we don't give medication. If people do need medication, in my opinion, we have first assessment at all of the case. Is it a case that needs medication? Is he too sick for the guidance center? Then we send him to the appropriate people, you know, and say, you know, this is nothing that we take on, go to a hospital, and we give them and introduce them to some psychiatrists and psychologists we know that work in hospitals. The Charlotte Hungerford Hospital Psychiatric Unit, Dr. Nimika Surya, is tremendously helpful to us. She worked with me at the country place for many years and is now the head of the psychiatric unit. And the other day I had a young woman and I felt right away that goes beyond what I can treat when it's not residential and not daily and so on. So I called her up and asked her, may I send the woman over? And she said, yes, sure.
Okay. Now, it seems just from the conversation that we've had that a lot of the things that the professionals in your organization deal with are change, loss, different kinds of change in lifestyle, you know, whether losing a job or losing a loved one or things like that.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of, and of course I'm just asking, you know, for basic things, but what kind of advice would you give to someone who came to you and said, I'm dealing with the loss, you know, of a loved one or a loss of something which is very familiar and comfortable to me? How would you recommend that they, you know, cope with that? Just quick little answer, yeah.
Well, you see, I am not really giving advice in that sense that the counselor would,
Right.
and the behaviorally oriented agency would. I work with dreams and I work with unconscious material. So I would first ask them to bring me a dream and to find out, let me find out what it is that, what is the meaning of the loss that they have experienced. You know, so everyone says, oh, I know what loss of a mother means, you know. But for everyone who are sitting here with us, mother means a completely different concept. So what do you lose when you lose your mother? For some people it's gaining freedom. For some people it's losing somebody who supports you, who understands you, you know. So that is the very first thing I would like to find out before I give advice. And the nice thing about dreams is that they come from you and from your own unconscious, and I consider myself more or less just a translator, a doorman, who tells them what their own unconscious tells them how to deal with it. You know?
Okay.
And we have a technique that we call the intensive journal workshops, which I start on April 16th at the Daughters of Wisdom, rented room there, where people write imaginary dialogues. So they might write a dialogue with that person whom they have lost.
I would like for you to come back sometime and talk about dreams. Would you be interested in doing that? Just dreams.
Yeah, but not for 10 minutes, for 10 hours.
Oh, no, well, if they would give me that much time, I would. We have to go.
Yes,
our time is up. I want to thank all of you. Renee, Nell, now, what's the phone number for the Litchfield Country Place? Or the Guidance Center, rather.
From 9 to 5, it's 567-3068.
567-3068.
Yeah, and after that, Dr. Reese, whose number I don't know by heart, it's a Washington Depot number, 868 number. Okay. And I send you a printed announcement so you can use that if you want to. It looks very good.
Wonderful.
Just came from the printer today.
Great. I want to thank all of you. Jim, thank you again. Kathy from Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and Tim Lundgren down there. Good luck to you. We'll be back next week. I don't know who's going to be on the show next week. I can't remember. I'm losing my mind. My producer, okay,